The vast darkness of space stretched forever around the orbital station. Called Harmony Point, it floated near the border of known space, a quiet place where different species sometimes met. Today it was not quiet. Ambassador Lero Voss stepped out of her shuttle. She was tall and thin with smooth silver skin and large black eyes that saw everything. Clearly, her people, the Vexari, were old and proud. They built perfect ships and fought with honor for many cycles. They had ruled their part of the galaxy without much trouble. Now trouble had come. The Krelith had appeared like a storm. They were not one species, but a huge swarm of insect-like creatures. They did not talk or make deals. They only consumed. Planet after planet fell. To them, whole fleets vanished. The Vexari had lost 3 strong worlds. Already, their leaders knew one thing. They could not win alone. That was why Lero was here. The humans had just entered the galactic community a short time ago. They were new, small in number and strange. Their bodies looked weak compared to Vexari or other races. Short lives, soft-skinned, no natural armor, yet they had ships and weapons. And they wanted to meet others, LRAs. Orders were simple: ask for help, offer trade, and see what these humans could give. She walked down the wide corridor of the station. The air smelled clean and a little sweet, human style, too. Guards in dark blue uniforms stood at the meeting room door. They nodded politely and opened it. Inside, 5 humans waited. They wore simple gray uniforms with small flags on the shoulders. The leader stepped forward. He was not tall, but he stood straight. His hair was short and dark, and his eyes were calm. I am Captain Jason Hayes, he said in clear galactic standard. Welcome, Ambassador Voss. This is my second in command, Lieutenant Laura Bennett, and the rest of my team. LRA bowed slightly, the Vexari way. Thank you for meeting me so quickly. My people face a great danger. The Krelith swarm grows stronger every day. We need allies, period. Jason listened without interrupting. When she finished, he nodded slowly. We have heard reports. The Krelith took 2 colonies near our outer systems last month. We lost contact with them. No survivors. Laura, a woman with short brown hair and sharp green eyes, added, our scouts saw what they do. They strip worlds clean. Nothing left but rock and silence. LRA felt a small hope. These humans understood the threat. Then you know we must stop them together. My fleet is strong, but their numbers are endless. Your ships could help guard supply lines or carry messages. We can share technology if you wish. Jason looked at his team for a moment, then he spoke. Again, we will do more than that. We want to fight beside you on the front lines. LRA blinked her large eyes. She had not expected this. You are new to deep space wars. The Krelith do not fight like others. They swarm in waves that block the stars. Many die, we know. Jason said simply, but we don't leave friends to face that alone. Laura smiled a little. Humans have a saying, all for one, one for all. It means we stick together. LRA studied them. Their faces showed no fear, only quiet resolve. She had seen fear in other species, shaking hands, quick breathing. These humans, breath steady. One of them, a big man named Ryan, even looked excited, like he was ready to run toward the danger. The meeting went on for hours. They talked about ship types, weapons, and battle plans. The humans asked good questions. They wanted to know how Vexari shields worked, how Krelly's ships moved, what killed them best. LRA answered Everything, she noticed how fast they learned. When the talks ended, Jason stood. We can have 3 cruisers and 10 support ships ready in 2 days. Our main force will meet your fleet at the edge of the neutral zone. From there we go to the fight so soon. Most species would ask for more time, more proof, more payment. These humans just said, "Yes, thank you," she said. "Your help may save many lives." Jason shook his head. "We do it because it's right, not for thanks." As Lyra walked back to her shuttle, she thought about the humans. They laughed sometimes during the meeting. They told small jokes. One, named Megan, an engineer with curly red hair, even showed a picture of her family on a small screen. 2 children smiling. How could people with families choose to fly into a swarm that ate worlds? She boarded her ship and gave the order to return home. The Vexari fleet would gather. The humans would join. Together they would meet the Krellis at the battle line near the shattered system called Epsilon Verge. LRA sat in her command chair and looked at the stars outside. In her long life, she had fought many enemies. She knew pride, duty, and cold strategy, but something about these humans felt different. They were not strong like the Vexari. They were not wise like the old races, yet they said they would stand with her people. She did not understand it yet. She thought they would break quickly when the real fighting started. Many soft species did. She would protect them if she could. It was the honorable thing, but deep inside a small voice whispered something new. Maybe these humans were not as soft as they looked. The shuttle flew into the black. Behind it on Harmony Point, Captain Jason Hayes watched the alien ship leave. He turned to Laura. "Think they'll be surprised?" he asked. Laura crossed her arms. "They have no idea." Ryan laughed from the back. 2 days till we ship out. Better pack extra ammo. Megan smiled. "And coffee?" "Lots of coffee." They all nodded. No big speeches, no fear in their eyes, just normal talk before a war. In 2 days the human ships would leave their docks. Engines would burn bright. Crews would check weapons one last time. Then they would fly to meet the Vexari and face the swarm. LRA did not know it yet, but she was about to learn something important. Fear was not only for the weak. Sometimes the most frightening thing in the galaxy was a group of ordinary people who decided they had enough and kept going no matter what. The stars waited. The war was coming. The Allied fleet gathered at the edge of the neutral zone like shadows, waiting for dawn. Vexari warships shone silver and perfect, their lines sharp and elegant. Human ships looked rougher. Blocky hulls, thick armor plates, engines that glowed bright blue. They were fewer in number, but they sat ready, no hesitation. Ambassador El Ravas stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Eternal Dawn. Screen showed the full formation. Her crew moved with calm precision across the void. The human flagship, a heavy cruiser named Endurance, sent a simple message: ready when you are. LRA gave the order. Engines flared. The fleet jumped forward into the Epsilon Verge system. Sensors lit up almost at once. The Krell were there, hundreds of hive ships, small and fast, swarming like angry insects. Behind them came the larger carriers, bulbous and dark, spitting out thousands of drones. The battle started fast. Vexari ships formed a tight wedge. Their weapons fired in perfect patterns, long beams of white energy that cut through enemy hulls. They aimed for weak points with skill born of centuries, but the Krelith did not care about losses. 4. Every ship destroyed, 10 more rushed in. They rammed, they exploded, they flooded. Channels with acid clouds that ate. Shields, Lyra watched her fleet take. Hits, one cruiser lost its engines. Another spun away, leaking air. Her own ship shook as a drone wave slammed into the forward shields. Status, she asked. Shields at 60%, hull. Damage minor, her tactical officer replied. Then she saw the humans move. The Endurance did not stay in formation. It broke ahead, engines burning hot. Captain Jason Hayes's voice came over the open channel, calm, almost bored. Endurance drawing fire, all Allied ships. Use the opening. LRA stared. The human cruiser charged straight at the thickest part of the swarm. Missiles launched in. Salvos, point defense guns chattered. Non-stop, Krelith drones died by the hundreds, but more came. The Endurance took hits, bright flashes along its side, armor peeled away in places. Still it pushed forward. Laura Bennett's voice joined the channel from the human command deck. Boarding teams. Away, target the hive core on the big carrier at grid 74. Small shuttles detached from human ships, they darted through the chaos like needles. Marines in heavy suits launched grapples and cut into enemy halls. Lyra switched views to external cameras. What she saw made her breath catch. Humans fought inside the Krelith ships. The aliens were fast. Claws, acid spit, numbers, but the humans did not back away. They moved in teams of 4, covering each other. When one Marine fell, another dragged him back while firing. They used shotguns for close range, plasma cutters to seal doors, grenades thrown with perfect timing. One human, Ryan, a big man with a shaved head, took a claw strike to the chest. His suit sparked, blood showed on the camera feed. He did not stop. He grabbed the Krelith drone, slammed it against a wall, and fired point blank into its head. Then he kept moving, limping but shooting. Lyra felt cold. Vexari warriors valued honor and clean kills. They did not fight like this. Raw, dirty, endless. The Endurance kept drawing fire. Its shields flickered. Large Krelith carrier turned toward it, firing spines that punched holes in space. Jason's ship answered with everything. Torpedoes, rail guns, even secondary batteries meant for defense. Captain Hayes, Lyra transmitted, pull back. Your ship cannot take more. Jason's reply came quick. Negative, Ambassador. We're buying time. Your fleet needs to hit that carrier now. LRA looked at her officers. They waited for her command. She gave it. The Vexari ship surged. Their beams focused on the wounded carrier. It cracked open. Secondary explosions lit the void. The swarm around it faltered for the first time. But the humans paid a price. Ryan's squad was cut off inside the hive. Krelith poured in from every vent. Ryan stood at a doorway, firing until his ammo ran dry. He pulled a grenade, held it tight. Get out, he shouted to his team. They ran. He stayed. The grenade went off. The feed cut to static. LRA felt something twist inside her. Ryan had not hesitated. He chose death to save 3 others. The battle turned. The Krelith pulled back, slow at first, then faster. They left debris and burning hulks behind. For the first time in many cycles, the swarm retreated. Silence fell on the bridge. Lyra stared at the screens. Human ships still burned. In places, the Endurance listed to one side, but its engine still hummed. Damage reports came in. Human losses Heavy but they held. Jason's voice broke the quiet. Ambassador, stayed us on your side, LRA answered slowly. We live thanks to you. A pause, then good, we'll patch up and prepare for the next push. The channel closed. LRA walked to the observation deck alone. Stars filled the view. She thought about Ryan, about the way humans fought not for glory, not for territory, but because they refused to let the enemy win. They took wounds that would stop others and kept going. She had called them soft. Now she saw something else. They were not unbreakable. They broke, they bled, they died, but they did not run. When one fell, another stepped into the gap. No panic, no despair. LRA touched the glass. Cold space pressed against it. These humans carried something inside them, something the Vexari had lost long ago, a quiet fire that burned until nothing was left to burn. The fleet regrouped, repairs started, medics worked on the wounded, on human ships. Crews sang songs, old ones about home, about fights won. LRA listened over the comms. She did not understand the words, but the tone was clear. They were tired, hurt, but ready for more. She turned away from the stars. The war was not over. The Krelith would come again, but now LRA knew one thing for certain. She had fought beside humans, and she had begun to learn what real fear looked like. Not the fear of death, but the fear of facing something that would never stop coming, no matter the cost. The void waited. The next battle would be worse, but the humans would be there. The war did not slow down. The Krelith kept coming deeper into their own space. Now the Allied fleet pushed forward. System by system, planets that once belonged to other races lay silent, stripped bare. The humans and Vexari fought side by side, but the humans changed the way battles felt. Ambassador Elrava's transferred to a forward assault ship for the next operation. She wanted to see the humans up close. The ship was called Defiant. It carried a mixed team, Vexari specialists and a human marine squad. Captain Jason Hayes led from the bridge, but he sent his people down to the surface of a Krelith hive world named Zoreth 9. Lyra went with them. The drop pods hit hard. Dust and ash flew up as they landed on cracked black ground. The air smelled of sulfur and rot. Tall spires rose everywhere. Krelith nests made of bone and resin. Drones crawled on every surface, hissing and clicking. The squad moved fast. Megan led the engineers. She was small with curly red hair tied back under her helmet. Kevin, the medic, carried a heavy pack full of supplies. Ryan was gone now, but his brothers in arms carried his memory. Quiet ways, they checked weapons, nodded to each other, and advanced. Lyra walked beside them in her armored suit. Her people preferred long-range precision. Humans liked to get close. A wave of drones attacked first. Hundreds poured from a tunnel mouth. The humans opened fire without waiting. Shotguns roared. Automatic rifles spat bullets in short bursts. LRA's energy rifle hummed, cutting clean lines. Through the swarm, Megan spotted a weak point, a support pillar under one of the tall spires. If we drop that, she said, over comms, half this sector collapses. Jason's voice answered from orbit. Do it, but get clear fast. Megan ran forward with two others. Drones leaped at her. One slashed her arm. She did not scream. She kept moving, set charges on the pillar base. Her hands shook only a little. LRA covered her, blasting drones off her back. Charges set. Megan called. They ran. The pillar groaned. then cracked, the spire above tilted. It fell slowly at first, then fast. Tons of resin and bone crashed down. Thousands of drones vanished under the weight. Dust rose like a storm. LRA stared. Megan had turned the battlefield in seconds with simple explosives and quick thinking. They pushed deeper. The hive grew darker. Lights from human helmets cut through the gloom. Krelith warriors, bigger, with thicker shells, waited in ambush. They charged in waves. Kevin stayed at the rear. When a Vixari soldier took a spine hit to the leg, Kevin dragged him behind cover. Acid dripped nearby. Kevin ignored it. He patched the wound, injected painkillers, and said, "You're walking out of here." The Vixari looked at him in surprise. No one had ever spoken to him that way in battle. Larger fights started in a wide chamber. The ceiling dripped slime. Krelith queens guarded eggs, thousands of them. The swarm defended with fury. Jason ordered a full assault. Human marines rushed in first. They threw flash grenades, then charged. LRA followed. She saw something she could not believe. A marine named Nicole took a position on a high ledge. She carried a long rifle. She aimed across the chamber. Over 200 meters, a Krelith commander stood on a platform directing the swarm. Nicole fired once. The commander's head snapped back. It fell. The swarm hesitated. She fired again. Another leader dropped in. Again, each shot perfect. No waste, no emotion on her face through the visor. Cam, just calm work. The humans adapted to everything. When their plasma rifles overheated, they switched to captured Krelith weapons. When air filters clogged with spores, they shared spare masks. When one squad ran low on power, another tossed battery packs across gaps. The chamber battle turned brutal. Bodies piled up. Human Vixari Krelith. LRA fought hard, her rifle never stopping, but she noticed the humans never looked away from the wounded. They pulled friends out even when it cost them time. They covered each other without being told. Then the worst came. A massive Krelith carrier ship broke through the upper hive. It landed hard, cracking the ground. From its belly came fresh waves. Elite warriors with heavy armor and long blades. The allied team was trapped in the chamber. Retreat. Tunnels collapsed behind them. Jason's voice crackled over comms. "We have incoming armada. Orbital bombardments. Not possible. Too close to you. Hold position. We're sending evac shuttles. But it will take time." LRA looked around. The team was low on ammo. Wounded lay everywhere. The Krelith closed in. Jason spoke again, quieter. "If we lose this chamber, the hive regrows. We can't let that happen." Pause. "I'm ordering reactor overload on the secondary platform above you. It will take out the carrier and half the hive, but someone has to stay to trigger it manually." LRA felt cold. "Captain, that is suicide." "I know," Jason said, "but the line holds here or it doesn't hold anywhere. Get your people out." "Ambassador, tell them we did our part." LRA wanted to argue. She opened her mouth. No words came. The humans moved. Most ran for the last open tunnel. Megan helped Kevin carry a wounded Vexari. Nicole covered the rear, still picking off targets. Jason stayed behind. LRA saw him on the feed, standing alone near the platform controls. He looked up at the camera for a second. "See you on the other side," he said. He hit the override. The reactor began to climb. LRA ran with the others. Shuttles landed in the dust outside. They boarded fast. Engines roared, the ground shook as they lifted away. Behind them the platform glowed white-hot, then it vanished in a bright flash. The carrier crumpled. The hive section collapsed inward. Fire bloomed across the surface. LRA sat in the shuttle, staring at the viewscreen. Jason was gone, so were the Krell-lit forces in that zone. The shuttle docked with the Defiant. LRA walked to the bridge. The crew was silent, human. Sailors wiped their eyes. Vexari stood stiff, unsure what to feel. Laura Bennett met her at the door. Her face was hard, but her voice stayed level. He knew the odds. He chose anyway. LRA nodded slowly. Why do they do it? Laura looked out at the stars. Because if we don't, who will? The fleet regrouped. The war went on, but LRA felt different. Now she had seen humans turn impossible moments into victories. She had seen them give everything without asking for anything back. Jason's last words echoed in her mind. The line holds. She understood a little more. Humans did not fight because they were strong. They fought because they refused to be anything else. The next battle waited. The Krell still had numbers, but they allies had something new, something quiet and terrible. They had humans who would stand until the end. The war turned like a heavy door slowly opening. The Krellith, who had always won by fear and numbers, started to lose ground. Allied fleet moved deeper into their territory. Every system they took showed the same thing. Empty worlds, broken hives, silence where millions once lived. The humans did not celebrate. They just kept going. Ambassador El Ravas stood on the bridge of the eternal dawn. Again, she watched the new human ships arrive, not just military cruisers this time. Civilian transports came too, big, slow ships with extra armor welded on. They carried people who were not soldiers before the war, mechanics, teachers, farmers. Now they wore uniforms and carried rifles. They came in waves. When one ship lost its crew, another took its place. No complaints, no retreat. LRA met with the new human commander, Captain Elena Ruiz. Elena was shorter than Jason had been, with dark hair pulled tight and eyes that looked tired but steady. She replaced Jason after the reactor blast. Elena spoke softly, but her words carried weight. We have more coming, she told LRA. Every day more ships leave Earth. People hear what happened to our colonies. They hear about Zoreth 9. They want to help finish it. LRA nodded. Your people do not stop. Elena gave a small smile. We learned long time ago, if you let evil walk away, it comes back bigger. The next battle happened at a place called the Black Veil, a dark nebula where sensors barely worked. Krelly's ships hid inside the clouds. They waited to ambush. Allies went in anyway. Human scouts flew ahead in small fighters. They drew fire on purpose. When Krellith attacked, the main fleet followed. Beams and missiles lit the dark like sudden stars. Fighting was close and messy. Ships brushed against each other. Boarding actions happened everywhere. LRA watched from her command chair. On one screen she saw Nicole again. The sniper had moved to a damaged Vexari frigate that drifted near a Krellith carrier. Nicole found a good spot in the wreckage. She lay flat, rifle steady. Light seconds away, Krellith officers stood on their bridge, thinking they were safe. Nicole fired. One officer fell, then another. The carrier bridge went dark. No orders came. The ship drifted helpless. Nicole kept shooting. Never fast, never angry, just precise. Each pull of the trigger removed a leader. The carrier tried to run, too late. Allied torpedoes finished it. Lyra felt a chill. This was not honorable combat. This was removal. Humans did not fight to win points. They fought to end the threat. A Krelith queen broadcast on open channels. Her voice hissed through translators. She offered terms. We will leave your worlds. We will take only what we need. Stop now and live. The message repeated. Some Vexari officers looked at each other. Peace sounded good after so much death. Elena answered first. Her voice was calm. No deal. You took our people. You burn our friends. There is no enough for you. We end this. The channel closed. No more talk. The fleet pressed on. Human ground. Teams landed on hive moons. They hunted deep nests. They burned egg chambers. They chased queens through tunnels until nothing moved. Krelith warriors fought hard, but they broke when their leaders died. Panic spread through the swarm. For the first time, Lyra joined one landing. She walked with a human platoon. They moved quiet and careful. When they found a hidden nursery, the Krelith guards charged. The humans met them head-on. Knives, fists, rifle butts. One Marine went down under claws. His friend pulled him free, bleeding himself. They kept fighting. After the fight, Lyra asked the Marine why he risked so much. Because someone has to. If we stop, it never ends. LRA looked at the dead Krelith around them. She saw no joy on human faces, only grim work. Back on the Eternal Dawn, Vexari High Command sent a private message to LRA. They worried the humans moved too fast now. Their anger grew cold and steady. What if, after the Krelith, they turned that same will on others? The Empire feared becoming the next target. LRA read the message twice. She thought about Jason standing alone at the reactor, about Ryan holding the door, about Megan dropping a spire on thousands, about Nicole never missing. She called Elena to a private talk. Your people scare my leaders, LRA said. They say you do not forget. You do not forgive. Elena looks straight at her. We remember what was done. We remember the colonies that screamed before they went silent. We remember our dead, but we do not hunt for sport. We hunt to make sure no one else has to feel that pain. We are awaited. Elena continued. Fear is a teacher. We learned it on our own world. Wars, disasters, cruelty. We learned what happens when you look away. Now we make sure the nightmare stops for everyone. LRA felt the truth settle inside her. Humans were not monsters by nature. They became something terrible when pushed too far. Not wild rage, not blind hate. Cold purpose, endless patience. They would cross stars, wait years, follow any trail until the threat was gone. The Krelith felt it too. Their broadcasts changed. No more offers, only warnings. The soft ones do not stop. They come forever. Swarm ships began to flee. Instead of fight, some tried to hide in deep space. Human hunters tracked them. No mercy, no prisoners, just silence. After silence, LRA stood on the observation deck. One night cycle. Stars moved slow outside. She thought about the first meeting on Harmony Point. How she saw humans as weak. How wrong she had been. They were not strong in body, not fast, not armored, but they carried something heavier than steel. Memory, will, promise to the dead that the living would finish what started. She whispered to the empty room. You taught me fear. Not fear of humans themselves, fear of what they could become, fear of an enemy who would walk through fire, through time, through anything until nothing dangerous remained. The war still had one last step. The Krelith home nexus waited the final fight. LRA knew the humans would lead the charge, not because they wanted glory, because they could not live with anything less. She turned from the stars, the fleet prepared, engines hummed, weapons charged. The end came closer, and the humans walked toward it without pause. The final assault began under a sky that was no longer black. The Krelith home nexus, a giant world covered in endless hives, glowed red from fires and plasma burns. The Allied fleet surrounded it like a noose. Vexari ships held the outer ring with perfect formation. Human ships filled the gaps, engines roaring, ready to push through anything. Ambassador El Ravas stood on the bridge of the eternal dawn. She felt the weight of the moment. This was the end. Win here, and the swarm died forever. Lose, and everything they fought for turned to ash. Captain Alina Ruiz sent the last message from her flagship. All ships, this is it. We go in hard, no pullback, no second thoughts. For everyone we lost, the fleet moved as one. Human dropships fell first. They burned through the thin atmosphere like meteors. Ground forces landed on the main hive plateau. Lyra went down with them. She wanted to see the finish with her own eyes. The surface was hell, air thick with smoke, ground cracked and hot. Krelith warriors swarmed from every crack and tunnel. They fought like cornered animals, fast, desperate, deadly. The human marines hit the ground running. They formed lines and advanced. No fancy tactics, just straightforward. Rifles barked, grenades rolled into holes. When drones leaped from above, humans met them with bayonets and fists. LRA ran beside a squad led by Megan. The engineer carried a heavy pack now full of charges and tools. She pointed to a massive hive tower ahead. That's the central nexus. Queen is inside. We take it down. The whole swarm feels it. They pushed toward it. Krelith poured out in waves. One marine fell, leg torn open. Kevin appeared from nowhere. He dragged the man behind a broken wall, patched him fast and said, "Stay with me." Then he went back to the fight. Nicole took a high position on a fallen spire. Her rifles spoke again and again. Each shot found a commander or heavy warrior. Bodies dropped. The swarm slowed where she aimed. She did not speak. She just worked. LRA fired her own weapon until it grew hot. She saw humans do things no Vexari would try. One man ran straight at a group of drones with only a pistol. He killed 3 before they pulled him down. His friend threw a grenade into the pile. Both died. The path cleared. They reached the tower base. The doors were thick resin. Megan set charges. Stand back. The blast opened a hole. Smoke poured out. Inside, the air smelled of blood and fear. The team went in. The corridors twisted like veins. Krelith guards waited at every turn. Fighting happened in tight spaces. Close, brutal, loud. Lyra saw human marine use his broken rifle as a club. Another fought with bare hands when ammo ran out. They did not stop. Deeper in, they found the queen chamber. It was huge. The queen sat on a throne of living flesh. She was massive, 10 times a human size. Her eyes glowed yellow. Around her stood her last guards. Thousands of eggs pulsed on the walls. The queen spoke through speakers in broken galactic standard. You cannot. When we are endless, you are few. Leave. Now we will forget this. Alelinas. Voice answered over comms, everyone. Heard it, we do not forget, you burned our homes, you ate our people, this ends. Today, the fight for the chamber started. Humans charged first, they threw everything, grenades, flashbangs, last missiles from shoulder launchers. The guards fell in rows, LRA fought. Beside them, her suit sparked from acid hits. She kept moving. Megan ran to the wall. She placed charges on support beams. If these go, the whole chamber collapses. Nicole climbed a ledge. She aimed at the queen. One shot hit the queen's eye. The creature screamed. Guards rushed Nicole. She dropped two more before they reached her. A claw slashed her side. She fell but kept firing until her magazine clicked empty. Kevin reached her. He pulled her behind. Cover, I got you. He worked fast to stop the bleeding. The queen roared. She lashed out with long limbs. One hit a human squad. Bodies flew. LRA saw Alina's face on a cracked helmet feed. The captain had come down herself. She stood in the open, firing a heavy rifle. Keep pushing. Megan triggered the charges. The beams cracked. The ceiling groaned. Chunks fell. Eggs burst. The queen tried to move. Too slow. Lyra and the last humans formed a line. They poured fire into the queen. Bullets, beams, plasma, all at once. The creature staggered. Her guards died around her. One final push. A Marine threw himself onto the queen with a plasma cutter. He cut deep into her shell. She screamed. Again, then silence. The queen fell. The chamber shook. The ceiling came down in pieces. Evac now, Alina shouted. They ran. Tunnels collapsed behind them. Dust choked the air. LRA helped carry wounded. Kevin carried Nicole. Megan limped but kept going. They reached the surface. Shuttles waited. They lifted off as the tower fell inward. The nexus cracked open. Fire spread across the plateau. The last Krell forces broke. No more waves came. Only silence in orbit. The fleet watched the world burn. The swarm was finished. No queens left. No eggs. No future. LRA sat in the shuttle. She looked at the humans around her. Tired faces, blood-torn suits, but alive. Alina came to her later on the eternal dawn. The captain looked older. Now it's over, she said. LRA nodded. You did what no one else could. Alina shook her head. We did what we had to. That night, LRA stood alone on the observation deck. The Nexus world glowed below like a dying ember. She thought about everything, the first meeting, the battles, the losses she had fought. Beside humans, she had seen them bleed and keep going. She had seen them die, smiling sometimes because they knew why. She understood now. True fear was not claws or acid or numbers. True fear was facing something that refused to break, something that remembered every wrong, something that would walk through fire, through death, through time itself until the threat was gone. Humans were not gods. They were not machines. They were people who decided long ago that some things must end, and when they decided, nothing stopped them. LRA wrote her final report to the Vixari Empire. The war is won. The Krellith are no more. But remember this, do not mistake human kindness for weakness. When they stand beside you, be grateful. When they stand against you, no fear, because they will never stop. They will never forgive. They will make sure the nightmare ends forever. She sent the message. Then she looked at the stars again. Somewhere out there, humans would go home. They would rebuild. They would laugh, raise families, tell stories. But if a new threat ever rose, if anyone tried to Bring back the dark, they would answer. And the galaxy would learn fear once more. Lara closed her eyes.